How y'all doing? I'm Prescott Mack. I am the owner and general manager of the Dallas Skyline. I want to first thank you all for coming out to the first official Dallas Skyline press conference. We are here at the Addison Treehouse, who's a huge supporter of the Dallas Skyline. So we want to thank the Addison Treehouse for this space that they've given us. And I want to first introduce our first guest and our first most important supporter, Mayor Chow.
Thank you, Prescott. About several months ago, and Marlon Bush and Prescott Mack approaching me and emailed me and talk about this best potential basketball team come to Addison. I feel so thrilled and excited. I remember many years ago we have something similar, and I don't know if Ronnie Hand still remember that, and then we always embrace all kinds of entertainment, and then we want to find out all the young talents, and I can't tell you how happy I am, and so I connect them with our marketing director and Mary Zosenbleeth sitting there, and she's great in promoting. And I believe with all this, we can advance this venture to another level. And I understand you're going to perform at the Lowe's Field in Addison. Lowe's Field actually owned by DISD, Dallas Independent School District. We hope we have a better connection. Any business, any sports is a business, but we want to make sure, with the cooperation and the collaboration with the city and DISD and your organization, Dallas Skyline, we can make your team a better team. And then I understand I just met the basketball league in the David Magley, and I believe this is under your umbrella. So I want to make sure we all work together and make this a successful venture. And we'll see you in Addison as long as it can be. All right? Thank you so much. Welcome to Addison.
So, like Mayor Chow said, we are under the umbrella of the TBL, the Basketball League. This league is something that's near and dear to my heart. The president of this league is near and dear to my heart. The owner of this league is near and dear to my heart. So I want to take no more time but to introduce Mr. David Magley, the president.
Move that up a little bit. Thank you. Excited to be here. It's important that we do take a step back and explain what the basketball league is. The basketball league, TBL, was a vision that my wife had. My background was I played basketball 100 pounds ago, and I then was in the NBL Canada as a commissioner of a really cool pro league, and came here to the United States to start another league. And my wife just had this vision that we should start our own league called the Basketball League. The vision was unique in that there's a lot of leagues out there, but not a lot of leagues that do the things that we do. The most important thing that we do is impact lives, impact the young players, give them opportunities to be at the highest possible level they can, make certain that they're all paid, make certain that they're all fed, they're all given the best opportunity to fulfill their dream. But that's just the beginning. The bigger thing is the community piece. The bigger thing is taking their celebrity and having them use that for something other than self. Too many times we have young men and we teach them how great they are and they get a little bit of fame, but we don't really leverage that very good. We want to be the kind of the team and kind of league that the school district calls Prescott when a father leaves a home and a boy's getting disjointed and they need somebody to come and have lunch with them. And we send one of our guys here and they walk in, well, what's that big guy here for? Well, I want to come see you, James or Jamal or whatever the young man's name is, because I heard you're having a tough time. I want to have lunch with you. And then I want to invite you to come to one of our practices. And I want you to sit at the end of our bench. And I want you to be a part of what we do. And maybe we can change the trajectory of that young man's life just by using the celebrity that we're blessed with as basketball players. That's the vision of the league. The vision of the league is to do something far greater than just entertain. I promise you, you will be shocked how good these guys are. The level of play is remarkable. There'll be dancers. There'll be DJs. Everything you expect from pro basketball will be there. But beyond that, we will be ingrained in the community in a manner that will impact lives. And that's what we think is most important. Appreciate Mayor Child speaking about the support we're going to need from the community. That's important. But beyond that, we're going to earn our support. A lot of companies want their names on our uniforms, more want their names on our polo shirts because those go out and impact lives. And these young men need to recognize that's the vision of what we want to do. We want to make certain that we impact lives in a manner that no one else has done. You know, not an NBA, not G League, nothing against them. They're all wonderful. But we're not just about development. We're about showcasing our guys and then impacting lives the whole time. So that's what's important. We have 13 teams. They go from the West Coast to the East Coast. It's an international level of play. We play a 48-minute game just like the NBA. All the rules are the same as the NBA, except there's an offensive-defensive goaltending rule that Europe has that we love, called a FIBA rule, where once the ball hits the rim, it's live. You can take it off or dunk it back in. But the standards are good. We play in great venues. Everybody will wear the same brand uniform. All the players are paid, and everybody's going to be treated as they should be. So we're excited to be in this market. We think there's a huge opportunity for us, and I won't take up any more time. And thank you. Excited for this young man. Giving him a chance to own his own professional basketball team is pretty darn cool. So without further ado, I'll let Prescott explain what's going on with you guys.
So a little bit about my story and my why. I am a 28-year-old male that was born in a small town called Greenville, Texas. I grew up in Garland, Texas, and graduated high school from McKinney, Texas. So these all three of those cities develop a different part of me. I feel like I got my business side from McKinney. I got my grit and determination from Garland, and I got my love for family and community from Greenville. This is a dream come true. I had dreams of sitting at this podium, speaking to media, speaking in front of a camera, but I had a different role at this podium. My dream was to be a player. My dream was to have a jersey on in front of this podium. My dream was to be talking about how I just hit a game-winning shot, and the media asking me what was going through my mind with 3 seconds left in the game. But God said that was too small for me, and it wasn't in my vision. There was something bigger for me, even from my mother not conforming to what my dad wanted for me to be a Paul. My dad's name is Paul, but my mother saying, no, I think I should name him Prescott. And me hearing that all my life that Prescott sounds important. And to be on this platform and to have this stage and to be able to develop this for other young men that may not want to dribble a ball, or they may want to dribble a ball, but something may happen to where they can't dribble a ball anymore, but it's not over. Basketball is still my life as it was when I was 4 years old, but now I just have a different avenue of how I've used it. And I want to encourage other young people that you don't have to be the player on the floor. You don't have to hit the game-winning shot, because you can still impact lives and you can still use this game to make your dreams come true. So I want to thank the TBL, David Magley, for helping me, giving me a platform for my dream to come true, and having a vision that matches mine, that helps me, plus the players we sign, plus the coaches we bring in, plus the whole community that is the Dallas Skyline community, to impact lives the way I have a passion for. So without further ado, I want to introduce our head coach. We connected on social media, and I don't think anything is done by accident, but when we announced that we were in existence, he reached out to me and says, "Hey, I gotta be your head coach." And I was like, "Okay, who are you?" And so naively enough, I looked up who he was, and I was like, "Oh, I just asked this man, who is he?" And he had 20 years of experience. So Chris Terrell has coached overseas and in the States on many different levels for 20 years and won multiple championships and is a winner. And for him to come in and say, "Hey, I want to be the Dallas Skyline's head coach," was a blessing in itself for this young new entrepreneur trying to own a professional basketball team. I believe I have the best head coach in the league. So I want to introduce you to Chris Terrell.
I just wanted to take a minute and kind of tell my story because I think it speaks to a lot of the stories from the players. You know, when we talk with guys and try and find out where they're at with their careers and what their aspirations are and what they're attempting to accomplish with basketball. I coached in leagues all over the world, 6 years in Mexico, in the LNBP and in CIBA Copa, 2 years in FIBA Europe in Romania, 1 year in the top league in China. It's called the CBA. And a lot of people aren't aware of this, but most countries have their own version of the NBA. And a lot of these guys, players and coaches, travel the world, you know, if they're looking for that professional opportunity. And I've got a family. My wife and I have 2 kids. And 6 years ago, I had an offer to return to Romania and to coach a team there. And we already had our import players picked out, and I'm on the phone every day with these guys, and they're getting packed, and we're all excited for the season, and we're talking about what local players we're going to have and what Americans are going to be on the team and who are our Romanian players, and working out our schedule and getting all excited, right? And my wife was pregnant with our second child. My daughter's now 6, and it was, I don't know, 3-4 days before I was due to fly out, and I had all the preparations made for the trip. She says, "Honey, I need to talk with you. Come sit down with me for a few minutes. Let's go over something." And for years, when I went to these pro teams, you know, you go to, how do you bring a family with you to, you know, Mexico and China and Romania and all these things? And so a lot of these basketball seasons are 8-9 months. And, you know, I raised kids and was a husband on Skype. Phone calls, and every once in a while you get a little break between seasons, but you're scouting and recruiting and going to Las Vegas and Summer League and doing all these things. It's difficult to follow what's in your heart and be who you need to be at home too. It's more than just sending home your paycheck, you know, and she needed my support, and so she pulled me aside. She says, "You know, I'm pregnant, and you know, we're going to have this baby, and I know basketball means the world to you. You spent your whole adult life chasing this dream of someday making it to the NBA as a coach." And she says, "I love you to death. We've been through the world back and forth. I'd do anything for you, but if you leave us for 9 months again this year, I'm done." What do you do, right? So I stayed at home. I pursued a career elsewhere because my particular course as a coach kind of took me quickly from high school to junior college, and then at the minor league level and pro basketball. I never really had the opportunity to pursue NCAA Division I opportunities, and unfortunately, just financially, it didn't work for lower levels. For me to be able to continue to take care of my family. So for the last 5 years, I've been, 9 to 5 regular career. To make a long story short, when I found out that the Dallas Skyline was coming to Dallas, we live in McKinney. I saw it on social media, and I clicked on the ad, and already my wheels are spinning. Wait, they're right here in Dallas, and it's an American league, and I don't have to leave the country, and this is pro basketball. And I did the research. The TBL is the 3rd highest level of professional basketball in the United States. You've got the NBA, you've got the NBA G League, and then you got the TBL. And some of these arenas are absolutely gorgeous. You look at teams with tradition. I'll give you one example: the Albany Patroons. Phil Jackson was their head coach. They also had George Karl. Musselman was a coach in Albany. Yakima, a lot of the other franchises in the league are established, play in big professional arenas. It's a good level. And so when this opportunity came and Prescott and I started talking about the team, it kind of gives me a way to have my cake and eat it too. So thanks to everyone that's here for coming out and supporting us and giving us the opportunity, because this story of mine isn't that different than a lot of the players on the team. They're trying to find a way to take care of home and be there for their families and still continue to follow their passion. And so thank you and thank God for the opportunity.
All right, so we only have a couple more people to bring up here, so we won't take up too much more of your time. But the second person, our assistant coach, is someone that I grew up with, that we had tons of battles on the court. We say battles, we were like 10. But if you knew anything about Garland basketball and when we were playing it, they're battles. Garland Pee Wee leagues are some serious battles. Our parents probably fought more than we fought on the court, but my assistant coach was a no-brainer to bring him in. His basketball knowledge is through the roof, and I felt like this was just an opportunity for both of us to elevate our careers. And so Finest Craddock from Garland, Texas is our assistant coach. Do you want to say something?
I don't have to say nothing. Well, I did win those battles, though. I did win those.
Finest did win the battles. But I do want to bring up, if Finest doesn't come out, I do want to bring up one of our players that we have signed. So we have scouted, me, Chris, Finest, Ronnie Black, our player development. We've scouted tons of players, and we come across, we had our open tryout September 8th, and this player comes to our open tryout, and usually when you go to a tryout, you don't have high-level players or players that played at the highest levels in the world. But this particular player played in, if you don't know anything about overseas basketball, he played in Korea. Korea is one of the highest levels of basketball that, besides the NBA, that you can play in. And it showed in tryouts. It showed like he got anything and everything he wanted. And it's just another test to what the TBL is and what the Dallas Skyline can mean to the communities. For similar to Chris, for him to not want to go back there and to be willing to stay home and play for a city, play for his city, play for his team, was huge. And I'm honored to introduce Jason Siggers.
The boss really knows how to butter a guy up, doesn't he? My name is Jason Siggers, as you guys know. I played overseas for 12 years. I've seen a lot, and I've been a lot of places. And, when I heard about the Dallas Skyline, I wasn't sure at first. Prescott doesn't know this. Coach, you don't know this, but I was actually in a tryout with the Patrons my first year out of school. So I actually know a lot about the history. I've been to Pepsi. I've seen all that kind of basketball before, so it's not like this is my first experience. And playing for Dallas Skyline it's a huge opportunity for me personally as a player. Playing overseas for 12 years, having your family come to games, having extended family, people come out of town to watch this brand of basketball in the States is huge for me. And it's a great opportunity for my parents, my kids, my cousins, extended family. And that really put me over the edge to want to come to the tryouts. Now, I'm not 21 years old, but, I have a lot of knowledge. a high basketball IQ, and that's what I kind of bring to the table, kind of help coaches out a little bit. What I also noticed about Prescott and this league, and Coach Magley, you said it earlier, it's really not about the jersey, it's about the polo. You know what I'm saying? So to impact the community, especially my community, where I grew up, Pleasant Grove, is huge for me. And I can't put a price on it. And I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to help out. I'm excited to work hard and help my guys get forward. Thank you.
All right. So as we get ready to wrap up, I do want to introduce a couple more people that's sitting up here with us. We have Ronnie Black. He is our director of player development. He's a NBA skills trainer, has trained many NBA players, and he will be in charge of also our youth basketball organizations as we continue to take basketball into younger ages. And then we have our DJ, but not just a DJ. Her most important position is our community liaison, DJ Queen Agnes, but Agnes, and I'm not going to even butcher your last name, but is very well known in the community, very involved in the community, and so we're excited to have her as well. To help us, however, grow, one is social media. So on all our social media platforms are Dallas Skyline BC. So BC stands for Basketball Club. So we're the Dallas Skyline Basketball Club. So at Dallas Skyline Basketball Club on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And then as been a theme of today and what we've discussed today is our community. We really, that's our most important part of this venture, of this platform, is our community. And one of the ways that we will impact that community is another organization that's near and dear to my heart that I've helped start, that is family, and it goes by the name of Nourish. And Nourish is it's like its name. So our goal is to nourish the community, whatever it is that we're lacking and whatever it is that needs to be fed, we want to nourish it. And so the owner and CEO of Nourish is my brother, my cousin, Walter Bell.
How's everybody doing? I'm not good at speaking, so I wrote down something, just basically going over what we stand for. Nourish was founded in 2017. Me and Prescott were on the phone thinking about how we could give back to the community that brought us up. We did it to give back to the community that played a huge role in making us into the men that we are today. Starting and sustaining a nonprofit it's not as easy as it sounds. To be a successful nonprofit, it needs people that's passionate about the organization. It also needs a foundation strong enough to support the organization for longevity over time. So Nourish, we do 2 events per year, annual events. We do a back to school giveaway. Basically, we find kids or families that are in need of school supplies, books, things of that such. We do a Nourishing Christmas. It's basically the same as the back to school drive. We find families that are in need of gifts, who aren't able to give their kids as much as they want or any at all. We take donations to basically help us give back to our community. Since 2017, we've helped about 25 families between both the back to school drive and the Nourishing Christmas. And we're just happy to play a role in our community and be a part of this team. Thank you.
All right, and wrapping up, couple announcements that we do have. One, season tickets will go on sale next week. as our season schedule will be announced, and we'll do a release of our season schedule. We also will have a dance team that is going to be halftime entertainment and marketing, but we will have dance team auditions November 24th. And so that information is also on our website at www.dallasSkylineBC.com. Community-wise, just because we're running out of time, we are planning a red carpet ball that we will call Dreamers and Sneakers, where we will give out free shoes to kids of need, and we're going to have this ball for red carpet, formal ball for anyone to come out to support, and the admission into this event will be to bring a new or lightly used pair of shoes. And so we want to make sure during Christmas that there's no one walking around cold without any shoes, or without going back to school after Christmas without new shoes. And so head over that is my friend Doug. What's your last name? Doug Sneed. Any other announcements do we have?
Questions?
Oh, and now we want to open this up for Q&A.
So you said you're going to, you announced that you're going to be playing, excuse me, the Lowe's Fieldhouse. Talk to us a little bit about what is your arrangement with them, and what is the, I guess it's kind of a twofold question. As Mayor Chow pointed out, we've been down this path once before, and we certainly wish you guys and want to help you do everything we can to help you be successful. But it's one of the things that I've noticed is that we have to get the word out and be very definitive about who your target audience is to attend these games. I think the past efforts were just jointed, I would say is a good word for that. They don't really focused about who their audience is. And you guys seem like because you have a long history with the the basketball league, what exactly has been your experience, and what is the audience, and how do you plan to get there?
So
I know that's a lot of questions.
Yeah. So for Lowe's Fieldhouse, my reasoning for targeting Lowe's Fieldhouse, one was to be a part of Addison, was to be intentional on our target market and to come somewhere where I know that this is a thriving community, and a community that I can embed, or that we can embed ourselves into, that we can get support from, that we can love on, and that's going to love us back. And so getting Lowe's was one of my, I actually came here first. I came to the Treehouse first. Hey, this is where I want to be. Where do I go? And they led me to Lowe's, and that's where I went. And DISD was more than gracious to allow us 12 dates for 12 home games. And that's our home. Once we secured our home, actually we have 15 dates, because we have 3 preseason games, January 12th, January 19th, and January 26th, where we will be at Lowe's Fieldhouse. And they were just a blessing to allow us that space. And if you've seen it, if you've been in it, it's beautiful. It's going to serve its purpose. It's going to feel like professional basketball. And there's no better way to really to have in Addison, another attraction in Addison, to go along with Kaboom Town, to go along with Oktoberfest, and to go along with Vitruvian Lights, than to have Dallas Skyline. So our target market is this Addison community, is the North Dallas community, but first is the basketball community. If you're a fan of the Mavericks, you can be a fan of the Skyline. If you're a fan of the Legends, you can be a fan of the Skyline. And we can reach Frisco, McKinney. We can also reach Duncanville and Cedar Hill. So I think this is central. The Lowe's Fieldhouse is central enough. It's historic enough. It's the first ever DISD arena built, and I think this is home.
Can I jump in?
Mm-hmm.
So, great question. These types of teams around the country often don't have long lives, and these types of leagues often don't succeed because there's not good standards. And what we think we figured out is that our league, every team will play the same number of home games and away games. Our league has a requirement of being in the community. Our league requires that all of our players get paid. Our league has a a live streaming package that every game will be live streamed, so you can watch your team when they're not home. You can watch them away. Our league has FIBA live stats, so the young men that are trying to play around the world, you know, we had 136 different countries watch our games last year because they're scouting our league. In theory, we could be like the G League to the world. So if the G League develops guys to the NBA, we develop guys for the rest of the world. So people that Coach Terrell knows and others know and Jason know, when they're looking for a player, they might call us and say, hey, I need a 6'9" big that can rebound, or I need a guard that can facilitate. We have that for them. So there's a uniqueness to that. But the other big piece is that financially we're building a model that can be profitable. It's important to us that we don't overpay our players, but they all get paid. We don't over travel, but we do some travel. We make certain that we're online so that there's a lot of exposure. All of our national sponsorships, all of our combine revenue, all the things that we generate money as a league gets split and goes to the teams as well. So that for us, it's important that we recognize these aren't easy businesses. So you make a great point. You have to be committed to it. You've got to have great local community support. You know, Mayor Chow being here is a big deal. All of our cities aren't blessed to have a mayor come out and say, hey, I'm behind this. Whatever you need, I'm going to help you go. But for us, there's greater motivation because we're trying to impact lives. So I think when the community gets a hold of that, they're going to fall in love with this guy because, you know, he said his dream was to be a pro. I've seen him shoot. He's doing a better job owning the team. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm not. But the truth is, he's a young guy that's a visionary, that's a dreamer, and it's easy to fall in love with him. But we can't forget that. We can't just say, okay, great press conference. Thanks, Mayor. We stopped you, high five. See you in February. We have a lot of work to do. We've got to, the piece of the community is we've got to grind it out. We've got to be there every day. We've got to be touching lives. And then we've got to let the world know about it. That's the wonderful thing about social media is people get to see this all over. And we hope that that's kind of like the Old Testament when so-and-so begets so-and-so begets so-and-so. Our investment and begets money, begets sponsorships, and we be getting a chance to be successful.
Right? Yes, sir.
Prescott and Coach Chris, Christian Runway Entertainment. Could y'all tell us a little bit about the preparation that goes in behind doors, amount of time or lack of sleep, or just making sure it's taken care of? And also, Prescott, tell us a little bit about your maybe success as far as maybe something you've overachieved and maybe something you failed and you've had to bounce back and deal with.
Okay, I'll start with that. I became a sports agent at the age of 21, and I've had super highs and then I've had super lows. I've been to where I've gone a whole year without making a dime or maybe $100 commission. And then I've had years where I have done some really big deals. But I've always been the young one so far and until I'm old. So becoming licensed as an agent at 21, I'm in a world full of probably 28, 30, 32, 40-year-olds that have been doing it for a long time, and I'm the new kid. And if you haven't noticed by Skyline, like, I don't do anything like a new kid, or I try not to do anything like a new kid. So when this young 21-year-old agent comes in and acts as though he knows what he's doing, it threatens a lot of people. And so I've had to overcome that all my life, because I carry myself as like I've done this forever. So that being young and being in a world full of veterans is tough, and something that I've always had to overcome. But I've had some success in this basketball world. I've understood the basketball business for a very long time, and it's sometimes underrated how well I know the business of basketball. But that it's kind of a skill of mine. Like some people can shoot jumpers, but some people can understand how much a player is worth after they see him. See him one time. Oh, this player's worth this. Or this player fits here at this league, and this player fits here with this team or this coach. I should contact this GM about this player because I know I can get a deal done. So that's a skill that I developed, and I think that's what's led me to this. As far as the preparation, I'm gonna let Chris talk about that because he can talk to players all day long. Where I will be like, yeah, I don't think you're good enough. Yeah, but Chris will talk to them and really encourage players and keep them motivated to keep working hard. And so the preparation I gotta give to him.
Yeah, so it's a lot of hard work. You know, a lot of people think that it's just, you know, game day and being a basketball player is easy. They just show up and shoot the ball, and you know how much is really is that all about? But wake up in the morning and run, and then you get up shots, you know, 200-300 shots, and then you're in the weight room, and then, you know, team lunch, and then you come back and you've got a 2-3 hour practice, and then in the evening you know get some more shots, or you watch some video, you're scouting the next opponent, you're going through scouting reports. It's not that dissimilar to managing a business or doing those types of things. You got to put in the work in order to be successful. And so, but the part that I think a lot of people miss out on is the relationships. What I learned about coaching basketball, it's picking up the phone and calling someone through Facebook and saying, you know, hey, do you want to go back to France this year? Do you want to play in Israel? Or what would it be like to play in Dallas and have your wife and kids come to the game, you know? And you share your own experiences, the experience that I shared with you about my personal journey to get here. You talk with players about those things and let them know about the opportunities that you have available, but you make it really clear from the beginning how much work that it takes in order to win. The bottom line is, you don't win basketball games, they don't come and watch you play. And we all want this to be successful, so we need to put in the work to win the games, and so I hope that answers your question.
Just checking in with Addison. I want to know, Mr. Prescott, what type of mentoring program are you going to have for people in the community to interact with y'all players? Because as y'all know that in the Dallas community, sometimes there are schools that do not have the proper mentorship for young boys who are interested in going pro or just wanting to be college players. Do y'all have a program geared towards that?
Yeah, we actually are partnered with a program called KID that will serve that purpose for us to have our own specific program that our guys will have their own person, mentee, that they will then, you know, pour into, or mentees that they pour into, as well as them, if they're interested in basketball or football. There's also a semi-pro football team here where if they're interested in football, those kids, those mentees will have the opportunity to play a game and before that semi-pro team. But then the ones that are interested in basketball, they'll have the opportunity to play a game before our games and just have that experience to put on a Skyline jersey, just like whoever their mentor is, wear the same number, put their name on their back, and have our logo in front of them, and they can say that they are a part of the Dallas Skyline.
So will this be in all different areas of Dallas, or are we talking about one?
Yes. So any part of, I have two sons in DISD right now, and so I know the struggle of Dallas school districts as well as Richardson school districts, as well as McKinney school districts, as well as Duncanville, DeSoto. So we want to spread out as much as we can. And the beautiful thing about a basketball team is that there's 12 of us, but then there's also a coach, and there's also an assistant coach, and there's also a player development, and then there's also an owner, and then there's also, you know, multiple staff that all can mentor. So we're not limited to just our player staff, but our coaches as well, and, you know, and our front office.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
For the head coach. What is your ultimate goals for the start and the finish? I know you have many years of experience, but starting this venture, what are your ultimate goals from start to finish, of where you see yourself, or what do you want to see throughout the year to accomplish your first year?
Yeah, okay, so two-pronged response, and I'm kind of talking a little bit out of taking it from two different angles, but I've always believed that you have to take it one day at a time, that you have to focus on what you can do that day to be successful, and whether that's getting up a certain number of shots or getting in a certain amount of running or practice time or whatever you're doing, that you're doing everything you can to win that day. You can't control what happened previously. You can't necessarily control what's in the future, but if you handle your business that day, then it's going to lead to lots of days like that end up being success. But I also believe that nobody plays this game or coaches this game to be mediocre. I mean, we just don't. I don't stay awake late at night dreaming about, winning 50% of my games. That doesn't excite me. I wouldn't be here. I want to win the whole thing. I want to win every single game. That's the ultimate goal. That's what we wake up for. That's what we want to accomplish. Now, with all respect to the other teams in the league, everybody else wants to win too, right? But internally, as a team, we're going to talk about winning it all.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to keep coming back to the marketing part, but kind of going back to what you just said, can you tell us a little bit about some of the metrics starting off with? What is the average attendance of the TBL teams? And then, knowing that you're starting off new here, what do you consider a success? Now, in terms of attendance, that sort of thing. What do you consider
Can I take my
successful as you're moving along?
I'll take my piece, and then you talk about TV. So my goal for the Skyline in attendance and what I see as a success on the business side is I want to average 1,000 fans a game. I want to sell 1,000 tickets a game, and that's on my low end. Of course, Lowe's fits 11,000 people, so eventually we'll get there. But my goal is to sell 1,000 tickets a game. Marketing wise, we'll have courtside suites. I want to sell 10 courtside suites. I want to and average between 1,000 and 1,500 fans each game, and that's paid fans. So even with the community aspect where we invite schools to come for free and all that, still I want to sell at least 1,000 tickets a game.
So the metrics to break even in this model is about 650 fans. If you can have 650 paid fans at $15 a ticket, you're going to make money in this league. You're going to break even. To compare that to the rest of the world, the NBL Canada, where I came from, they play on ice. So to convert a hockey arena into basketball arena, it's $5,000 just to convert the floor. Put down the subfloor, put a floor down, goals, the whole nine, take it up. Then they negotiate the rate, which is usually $3,000 to $4,000 a game. So they're at $8,000 to $9,000 compared to maybe $2,000 with us. So they have to be about 2,500 fans to break even. When you go to the G League pays significantly more than either one of us would. They play in even bigger arenas. Their number to break even is probably $4,000 or $5,000 a game. They don't average that, but the NBA supplements their losses. And quite frankly, the NBL Canada struggles to hit their numbers, and their ownership supplements their losses. We're building a model that you can make money at. You're not going to get rich, but you can break even positively cash flow, which is what your question is about. How do we make this a model that can be here and sustain a lifetime? It's great to impact the community, but if you can't have enough money to generate it, we can't be here very long. So we're building the model so that we can do it around that number. And then with his goals of 1,000, doesn't seem to be too high to dream of, but to your point about our averages, they're around 650. So they're around that number. And a couple teams, one team specifically averaged 2,800, and the rest of them were a little bit less. So it's about 650.
This is Chris with Rainwater Entertainment. I just wanted to say, Coach, I appreciate you for following me on social media. I know you're a busy guy, but this guy, I filmed for like 3 of the semi-pro leagues around here. And to see the quality of the guys that you all have on this team, it really amazes me to see, wow, they got all these guys on one team from this city, not including the other guys that came in going to the tryouts. So, I mean, appreciate your support on watching or liking all those videos, letting me know you're a busy guy, you're really serious about your passion for finding talent. And I wanted to ask DJ Agnes a question. I know DJing is very important, so could you explain to us why your role of setting the atmosphere is important for the Dallas Skyline?
Thank you so much, Chris Rainwater Entertainment. Yes, you know, when it comes to music and sports, I feel like right now it lacks diversity. So personally, I'm from Malawi, Africa, and I want to make sure that I represent all the cultures. The same way when I am hired to DJ an event or at a club, I'm looking at the audience. Yes, I have my set list. I'm gonna have the classic basketball tunes, you know, but I'm also going to always be aware of what's our theme tonight? Who do I see in the audience? And make sure that, you know, I make it personal for everyone. So that's my role. And as community liaison, I definitely want to contribute to really making each game. If we have 15 games, let's really hone in on, like you said, the target audience. What theme is going to be for this night, and really go after, you know, that group of people and create the atmosphere that we decided to do. Thank you.
Let me make two quick comments on something you said and something you said. We'll have 15 theme games, and part of the themes are to support a nonprofit as well. Yeah. So we want to generate money that we can then, and as you know, as the investment comes in, we can do pink uniforms for breast cancer. Right. We can do purple uniforms for women's abuse. We can do camo uniforms for the military support. So there's things, again, using our celebrity to impact lives is important. But the other thing I just want to comment on, you used the term semi-pro. So in this country, there's professional, there's minor league, and there's semi-pro. And people use different language for that. If we were in any country in the world, we would be considered professional. If we were we might be pro B with to Jason's part or to Coach's part, where the top level is the NBA, the next level is the BBL. So in Germany, top level is BBL, next level is Pro A. We would be Pro B. NBA is the top level, Pro A is the G League. We would be Pro B. If we were in baseball, we would be considered Double A baseball. That would be a comparison. But because we have baseball in this country and we call it minor league, AAA is considered minor league. But anybody that knows sports knows that the AAA baseball players are better than anywhere else in the world. So we recognize that our Pro B level really is professional because we pay all of our players. So those terms minor and semi apply to organizations that don't carry the same standards we have. They don't play the same number of home and away games, same uniforms, good venues, pay their players, have the live streaming, have the stats. The things that make us professional is what makes us professional. So just to clarify that term, that's why we'll always use the term, we're professional basketball.
And to your point where we were able to get all these players, and it's what the TBL is. Players that play in these semi-pro leagues, there is a purpose for all of them. They all have their niche. We're a different niche. We are this is your way to play professional basketball and be home, not semi-pro basketball and basically to me they're glorified adult leagues. And so they are a different level and they serve their purpose, but this is different, and there's no other way to say it. And even our hashtag for the league is we're a different league. This is different. Any more questions?
I have one, Jessica Hayne again with iMessage Williams with DJ Agnes. My question is, being a woman, being a DJ woman here in this world arena full of men, I was just wondering, how do you feel, how have you received feedback on you being a part of the Dallas Skyline team?
Thank you so much for your question. Well, being a female DJ in 2019 obviously is awesome. One of my great friends and inspiration is the official DJ for the Dallas Mavericks, DJ Poison Ivy, who's also an African woman, breaking barriers in her career. And it's been awesome. When I met Prescott, he had questioned me about my ability as a DJ, But again, he noticed on my resume more of my community work, and I thought that was awesome. Because a lot of people can honestly be a DJ, but it's what you do with your profession, right? So I actually call myself a social entrepreneur. So everything that I do, whether it's DJing, acting, organizing, it has to impact my community. So I'm glad Mr. Magley brought up the fact that at our games, we will be featuring a nonprofit at each one of our games. And one of my roles is to connect the nonprofit to the team. So anybody watching on Facebook Live, IG Live, if you have an organization and you want to be considered for one of our games, please follow us and email us at the Dallas Skyline BC. Thank you.
All right. Last piece, we will, speaking of community, once again, Saturday, we will be at the breast cancer walk. So if you would like to join us, that information is also on our website, DallasSkylineBC.com. We will be walking to support breast cancer. Support cancer and breast cancer. I actually just recently lost a very dear part of me to cancer. My childhood coach, Curtis Caldwell. So I want to bring, since I have this platform, bring light to that. He died from cancer just last week, and he is the epitome of building something that lasts for decades and building something that touches your community for decades. So if anything, I'm doing this for him in his spirit. He started something called the Garland Dream Team, and it goes for so many generations. It's unreal how many lives he touched. And I pray that the Dallas Skyline can impact as many lives as the Garland Dream Team did. So thank you, Curtis Caldwell. I know you're proud, looking down right now. And if there's no other questions, then we'll wrap it up.
Thank you.